My name is Jane Foreman. I've been married to Shane for 40 years. And I'm the mother of 3 adopted children. I'm the chair of Family First Victoria, Family First here in Victoria, and I'm also the Family First candidate for the South Eastern Metropolitan Region at this November election. I do just want to acknowledge David Limbrick. He has been an incredibly hard-working politician. I've watched him closely, I've seen the work he's done, and he has done a phenomenal job in this region. So thank you to David. Also to Anne-Marie. She's been a hard-working politician as well in this area, taking up local issues, crossing the floor when she's needed to against the Liberal Party. So thank you to Anne-Marie as well. So because of my family, the word family is not an abstraction to me. It's not merely a political slogan. Family is where love becomes duty, where sacrifice becomes normal, and where the next generation learns what it needs to belong.
That's right.
Tonight we've sort of heard from the Liberals a little bit, maybe, I'm not sure, and we've heard from Ashley, and we're going to hear from Warren as well, and myself. So there's a great deal upon which we can agree. Victoria cannot afford another 4 years of uncontrolled debt, rising taxes, unreliable and increasingly expensive energy, deteriorating public safety, ideological capture of our institutions, and government interference in the rights of parents, churches and faith-based schools. So I think we can all agree on that. The parties here represented tonight are not the real enemy. The real enemy is the political culture that has forgotten truth, responsibility and the proper limits of government. If we agree on so much, you may reasonably ask, why does Family First exist? The answer is found in our name. Family First is not simply another party trying to occupy somewhere on the political spectrum. We begin with a distinctive first principle. The family is not merely another policy portfolio, it is the load-bearing wall of a healthy society. The Liberals traditionally begin with good government and economic opportunity. One nation begins with national sovereignty and Australian identity. The Libertarians begin with individual liberty and limited government. Each of those concerns have value. But Family First begins one step earlier, with the institution that raises the individual, sustains the community, passes on the nation's inheritance, and makes limited government possible. But before there was a government department, there were mothers and fathers caring for children. Before there was a welfare system, families, churches and communities cared for neighbours in need. Before a child encountered a teacher, bureaucrat or political ideology, that child belonged to a family. Government cannot manufacture loyalty, love, duty, self-control or sacrifice.
Yeah.
Bad government can weaken the institutions that produce them.
Yep.
This is why Family First asks one basic question of every policy and every piece of legislation. Will this strengthen families or will it weaken them? First, we are prepared to tell the truth about family. We believe marriage is between one man and one woman that provides the best foundation for raising children. We believe children should, wherever possible, enjoy the love and protection of their own mother and father. This does not mean disrespecting single parents, widows, blended families, adoptive families, or people whose lives have not followed those things. My family has been built through adoption. Compassion for people facing difficult circumstances does not require society to abandon the ideal. In fact, compassion needs an ideal towards where we can help people. Family First will promote marriage, support parents and recognise that children are not accessories to adult fulfilment. They're human beings with interests and rights of their own. Second, Family First believes that freedom requires foundations. We stand firmly for freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, and freedom of association. Government should not and must not dictate what Australians must believe, say or pray.
Yeah.
Faith-based schools should be free to teach their faith and employ people willing to uphold their ethos. Medical professionals should not be compelled to act against their consciences. Parents should remain the primary educator and guardians of their children. We agree with our libertarian friends that government must get out of people's pockets and stop trying to control every part of their lives. But Family First adds something essential. Freedom cannot survive without responsibility, virtue and truth. Freedom is not simply the absence of restraint. In society in which everyone demands personal autonomy while nobody accepts responsibility, will eventually produce disorder, and disorder becomes the excuse for even more government. Strong families cultivate the character that makes freedom possible, responsibility, work, forgiveness, self-control, concern for neighbours, and sacrifice for the next generation. This how strong families make smaller government possible. Third, Family First stands for the dignity of every human life. We believe human life should be protected from conception until natural death. And that means supporting expectant mothers so that no frightened woman believes adoption is her only option. It means providing adoption, properly funding pregnancy support and ensuring that women receive genuinely informed choices. It means protecting unborn children capable of feeling pain, providing medical care to babies born alive following an attempted abortion, and defending the freedom of conscience of health professionals. At the end of life, it means properly funding palliative care rather than allowing death to become the cheapest treatment the state can offer. Every person possesses dignity because human life has value, and every single person is made in the image and likeness of God. Fourth, Family First will defend children and biological reality. There are two sexes.
Yeah.
Women's sports must remain for women. Girls' spaces must remain safe. Children experiencing confusion deserve compassionate support, not political activism or a medical pathway that can potentially give lifelong consequences. It's absolutely shocking. We should fight to end medicalised gender interventions on minors and insist that parents are informed about what is happening to their children. Our schools should be teaching children how to read, write, reason and understand our history. They should not undermine parents or teach children to distrust their own bodies. We can treat every person with dignity while still telling the truth. Respecting someone never requires the government to deny biological reality. Fifth, Family First brings the family test to economic policy. Economic policy is not ultimately about spreadsheets in Treasury. It's about what happens around the Victorian Christian tables. Can a young couple afford a home? Can parents afford another child? Can a family business employ one more person without being punished by tax and regulation? Can an elderly person afford to heat their home? And can families keep more of what they earn? Family First supports enterprise, home ownership, family business and fiscal responsibility. We want unnecessary red tape and green tape removed and government debt brought under control. Victoria needs affordability and reliable energy. Yes. That means the ending of the ideological assault on dependable power and responsibility using the resources and technology available to us. Families should not be forced to pay for electricity so politicians can boast about targets that place our businesses, industries, farms and energy security at risk. We also believe in subsidiarity. Decisions should be made as close as possible to the people affected by them. The family should do what the family can do. Communities, churches and voluntary organisations should do what they can do. Local institutions should be empowered. Only then should the state intervene. This is not merely small government as a slogan, it is government restored to its proper place as servant, not master. Family First is also proudly Australian. We believe in our Judeo-Christian inheritance, democratic freedoms and common national identity are worth preserving. Yes. Migrants are welcomed into a confident Australian culture, not into a country being taught to be ashamed of itself. But Australia is not merely land, government or an economy. A nation has an inheritance passed from one generation to another. And preserving that inheritance begins with strengthening the families entrusted to pass it on. At November's election, Family First is working to elect principled representatives to Victoria's Upper House. An Upper House representative can scrutinise legislation, expose government overreach, and where the numbers are close, determine whether a bad bill becomes law. But electing representatives are not the only reason to put Family First on your ballot paper. Your number one vote is counted first for Family First. It helps us win representation now, and where a Family First candidate or Upper House group reaches the required 4% of first preference votes, those votes can help the party qualify for public campaign funding under Victorian's, I might say, draconian rules. That strengthens our ability to communicate our message, support principled candidates, and build an enduring political voice for families, life, faith, and freedom. But there's also another consequence. Family First vote changes the political incentives of every party, even in this room. The major parties study first preferences very carefully. They watch where support is growing, which issues motivate voters and what they must do to win those voters back. When you put Family First, you send an unmistakable message. Parental rights matter, human life matters, religious freedom matters, biological reality matters, affordable energy and family finances matter. These are not fringe concerns, they are electoral priorities. So even if Family First is not elected en masse this election, your number one vote is never wasted. In our preference recording included. But your first preference remains recorded for Family First. It helps us win where we can, strengthens our ability to contest future elections, and encourages every other party on the conservative side of politics to take family-minded votes more seriously. A strong Family First vote can therefore produce more conservative and family-friendly politics beyond the representative elected under our own name. Vote 1 Family First helps elect us, helps us build and helps us move whole political conversation in a more family-friendly direction. Once elected, Family First representatives will ask of every bill, does it respect parents? Does it protect children and human life? Does it preserve speech, freedom of speech, religion and conscience? Does it strengthen family finances or load families with more debt and expense? Does it uphold public safety and biological reality? If legislation passes those tests, we will work constructively with anyone represented here tonight. If it fails those tests, we will have the courage to oppose it, regardless of which party introduced it. Family First does not need to replace every other party represented tonight. But if the Victorian Parliament desperately needs clarity, courage and moral compass, then a Family First representative would bring that. So are we conservative? If conservatism means conserving the institutes that government can not recreate once it has destroyed them, family, marriage, life, faith, freedom, responsibility and our national inheritance, then yes, Family First is unapologetically conservative. But we're not merely interested in preserving the past. We are fighting to restore the foundations upon which Victoria's future depends. Victoria does not simply need a different government. It needs a different direction. It needs parents respected, children protected, life defended, truth spoken, enterprise released, debt controlled, and government returned to its proper limits. Because when families are strong, communities become resilient.
Yeah.
When the communities are resilient, government can become smaller. And when government is limited, responsible and accountable freedom can flourish.
Yeah.
This is a distinct contribution of Family First. Family is not just one among many. Family is where the future begins. Stronger families, a stronger Victoria.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that, Jane. And I'm going to fill this up one last time before we get to Q&A. And we've got one last party. Could you please welcome Warren Picker from One Nation? Mate, I'm getting PTSD from 4 years ago. Yeah, Roger.